Hey guys, it is Nick here with another Nick's Topics Walking Dead What If topic video for today. And today, I am bringing you the finale, part 8 of a What If recommended to me by KingLuck305, and surprising even me with how many parts it is, what if Amy survived? Now, for those of you who don't know who Amy is and haven't seen my first 7 parts, Amy is Andrea's younger sister who died in season 1 of the original. And, like I said, I put this off, yada yada yada. If you basically heard me say this speech over and over again for the past, 7 videos. Anyway, Amy living in The Walking Dead not only changes her character development, but a lot of people survive. And Amy turns from a childlike person into a savage. But that's not all that changes. Rick and Jesse and Sam actually being alive here, Rick and Jesse actually have a relationship instead of the Rick and Michonne relationship we have come to know now. So yeah, that actually happens. And Daryl and Beth have a kid named Katniss, based off information and just theories in general. Now, to recap the last episode, because I'm not going to go over every single change, because I feel like you guys know them already. To recap the last episode, Beth goes with Maggie to the hilltop because of her pregnancy after Negan killed everyone he killed at the lineup. And when Gregory tries to send them away, Beth basically threatens him and almost comes close to killing him, but Maggie's the one to stop her. Meanwhile, Rick is trying to hatch a plan after Negan's first meeting for his stuff to turn against him because Morgan died, and there's no way Rick's gonna let that stand. Jesus actually being the main instigator for the plan, sort of like my what if Rick didn't kill Shane. But this time, he's gonna go in and rescue Daryl, and then, whenever the time is right and they're sure that everyone, including Rick and everyone he's gathered to fight the Saviors, is there, they're going to make a distraction and a whole war is going to go out, killing all the Saviors. So the plan, initially, all the communities, be it Oceanside and Junkyard, kind of being a little bit harder to get into the deal. The plan is initiated, and the entire sanctuary is bombarded with gunfire and battle in general. And then we get to Negan, who is basically one of the only ones left, and with so many people shooting him, Rick, Daryl, Maggie, Sasha, Rosita, Tyrese, Carl, basically everyone's shooting at him at once, and it's just blood and guts everywhere. There's no Negan part of him left. Because of all this, Spencer and Denise get to live. Ezekiel and Carol do meet, but it's after the Savior War, so it's definitely way later in the in this What If than the show. Also, Benjamin and Henry, Benjamin, for one thing, he gets to live and be with Henry, and they're both never taught the stick because Morgan was never at the kingdom and he died. So, yeah. Herschel is also fatherless before he's even born, because if you guys don't remember, Glenn was killed at the satellite outpost by Michonne, because I took a page out of her hallucination from the original. Sadiq is also saved, but that would be after the Savior War or something like that. But other changes being after the war is over, Jadis and her people, because they reluctantly decided to help because they were promised bunches and bunches of guns, they get most of the guns that are salvaged from the sanctuary after the battle. And if they tried to turn on Rick and the group, they would just get themselves completely killed. Also, Carl and Enid still have a relationship, and might even have a kid. And Carl still doesn't lose his eye because he was the one to put down Ron whenever he tried to kill him, because Carl was the only one there besides Rick. And I feel like if Carl and Ron got into it, he wouldn't let his eye get shot out. Not that Ron got killed at that moment, so it's not like he meant to shoot Carl's eye, he meant to kill Rick. But still. Also, for those of you who want more relevance on Sam and like Jesse and stuff, well, Sam mainly, here you go. Sam would be an adult around this time, and I feel like he would be more into the mood of the like zombie apocalypse, because before he was just so scared of the monsters. Well, that's because Carol traumatized him, but still, he would be a very good fighter in Alexandria. Then we get to the bridge scene, and with so many more people there, and even though all the saviors are dead and everything, there are a lot of people that lived through it, more so than the original, which means Rick isn't going to shoot down the bridge, and he actually stays with the group. So, and there's also no Michonne, so Rick's basically like the only leader. Also, to mention Judith, she still grows up to be the same way she is in the original, and I feel like Carl would still pass the hat down to her, just for family's sake. Also, we get to Yumiko's group, and that pretty much goes the same way as it did in the original, with like probably very few minor changes. And then we get to the entrance of the Whisperer arc. Eugene and Rosita, that whole scene at the tower still goes the same. Eugene still hurts his leg, and they discover about the Whisperers. And Jesus is still killed in the introduction of the Whisperers. So that pretty much goes down like it does in the show. Then we get to a change. We still get the Whisperers on the bridge, except this time it's Daryl, Rick, and Maggie. They are on the bridge this time. And Rick, seeing Leah, at this point, Rick being the person he is, he wants to kill Leah, but a part of him still, he lets her go for now, because I feel like he would just want to question her and stuff. Now, then we get to the scene of Alpha and the Whisperers at the hilltop wanting Lydia back. And this time, it's going to be a lot different. Amy is there for one thing, accompanied by Daryl, Maggie, and Beth. And all of them, after hearing about Lydia and everything, and Alpha wanting her back, they're like, they are not on board with this plan at all. And Rick basically tells Alpha that she's not getting her daughter back, and that he knows what she's done. And that she messed with the wrong people, especially killing off one of their closest friends, meaning Jesus. And that they are in no mood to bargain. And at that point, the entire hilltop and everyone there guns Alpha and the Whisperers down just like that. With absolutely none of the Whisperers that are there able to run away from all the impeding shots. And any zombies in the area are taken up too. And after that, Hilltop goes on a lockdown straight away, being armored up and prepared for what's to come next. Speaking of what's to come next, Beta is still a thing, and after hearing about Alpha's death eventually, he gets all the remaining Whisperers along with a decent horde of zombies to stage a revenge assault on Hilltop to avenge Alpha. But things are going to go a little bit differently with his plan this time. For one thing, the Hilltop is armored up this time, and they're going to be ready for a second Whisperer assault because they know there's probably more. Rick, at this point, has the entire Hilltop colony. People are getting watchtowers and getting every single able-bodied person that is there, and it's a complete freaking army of people getting ready for war. Beta uses the Whisperers that are there, as well as the horde of zombies that he has at his disposal, as bait, because he knows that there's going to be some kind of plan to beat him and stuff. He's that smart of a guy. And he is able to actually sneak into the Hilltop Colony alone, with the Whisperers and zombies being live bait. Tyrese is the first person that he lays eyes upon. And Tyrese, at this point in the story, he would be older, but he would be very strong. And a Tyrese versus Beta fight ensues, with Tyrese getting a decent many blows upon Beta, but it is still nowhere near enough to beat Beta the Giant. And sadly, this is where Tyrese dies. And after hearing this scuffle, Amy comes in, horrified to see Tyrese's dead body, along with Beth, very saddened because she really liked Tyrese as well as Amy. And the two of them rush at Beta furiously. And with the energy that he took to kill Tyrese, Beta is a little tired, but not too much worse for wear. And the girls do have an advantage, but it doesn't last long. Beta tries to go for Amy, but Beth steps in the way, pushing Amy out of the way. And Beta does a mighty throat slit against Beth. Amy, after seeing this, goes hog wild with her bat, or whatever weapon she has at the time, trying to use any energy that she has to kill Beta, but it's just not enough at this point. And she just keeps getting slashed and stabbed, and she's just losing ground little by little, and then is sadly killed. This is where Amy's story finally ends. And she's also thrown into a wall, similarly to how Laura was whenever she was killed off by Beta in the original story. And after all this, Beth is still there, but she's barely holding on to consciousness. She's trying to even get up to last even one more blow against Beta, but she can't even speak or do anything. She's dying. Then Daryl comes in. First he sees Tyrese's body, and then he sees Amy's body, and then he sees Beth, who is slowly dying from the mighty throat slit that was done to her, because it was bad. Then, after seeing this, Daryl is in a fit of utter complete rage. And with the strength that Beta has used, he's way too tired and beat up to, last that long against Daryl. And if he does land a blow or a kick, it's one at max, and Daryl's just so mad and stuff. Beta is absolutely no match at this point, basically insuiting all of his strength right away. Beta dies here against Daryl. After that, Daryl goes over to Beth, but Beth tries to say a few last words, and she knows that she's gonna die, but she can't even speak. And she can't even do anything. At that point, she just dies. That throat slit was just way too much. After that, they now know that the threat of the Whisperers is over. But that's not all. The Commonwealth scene, that'll still happen per the usual. But when the Reapers come into play, and then eventually the Commonwealth, Rick, Daryl, everybody, with so many deaths so recent, they're not going to want any Commonwealth. The Reapers are going to be dealt with easy peasy, and basically it's a complete blowout for Rick and company. They are in no position to want any kind of deals or Commonwealth Lance agreements, joining the Commonwealth. It's just over. Especially with Amy's death, Amy being so vital of a character, and then Beth's death, even Tyrese, Sasha's not going to want to join, and that just makes it worse. So, the Commonwealth is dealt with, and that brings to the end of this story and the end of The Walking Dead in this story. So I hope you guys really enjoyed my What If Amy Survived, and I hope that you enjoy the fact that Amy got to survive until the Whisperer arc. And I hope you guys like the whole sacrificing lives thing, with Dale sacrificing his life for Amy, and then Andrea sacrificing her life for Amy, and then Beth sacrificing her life for Amy, but then Amy dying in the end anyway. I feel like this was a proper end for Amy, and I feel like the entire story as is was definitely a lot more longer and thought out than I thought it would be from the get-go. But anyway, I really hope that you guys enjoy this 8-part series. Now, I'm going to look into something my friend Yuji and Kaz said about Kingdom Hearts and Resident Evil what-ifs. But that's a surprise. I hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned for more.